Hi, welcome to today's video. This week I'm going to be taking you through my pages like I always do. I've also got some bits to archive and some November sort of setup stuff to show you. I thought as well, I've had a bit of a change around in my sort of desk space, that I would give you a little bit of a desk tour towards the end as well. So yeah, we've got a few bits and pieces to start going through. Let's just get started. So starting off with the A6 Vec, I've got a couple of ephemera bits in here from a few weeks ago. This is feeling a little bit cluttered and messy for me, so I might actually have some time later like stripping all this out, because it's only really these dot stickers at the back and a couple of like paper ephemera bits like these that are kind of practical for me, but that's more of a note to self for later. Let's have a look through. Mood tracking. So last month I was trying to do this like 1 to 10/11 scale, and it kind of, when I look back on it, did give me a good overview of where I was, and everything is mostly like kind of semi-stable in the middle with some ups and downs, so it's kind of useful. But this month I have decided to go back to like good, medium, bad. I experience, and I don't necessarily pronounce it right all the time, I experience alexithymia, and it's quite tricky for me to break down the nuances of what I'm feeling, but generally speaking I will have a sense of, yeah, good, medium and bad. And then the next section is my calendar page. I'm not 100% sure, but I think I might not have shown you this yet. So my calendar page I use in, a very sort of traditional way. I've got a few stickers in here. So the November sticker here and the checklist sticker, those are Megan Rhiannon ones. In this top section here, I tend to put a quote about the month once I find it, and that normally happens sort of within the first fortnight or so. So for example, the last couple of months I've got a few different ones, and then this is a list of things that I like to do at least once a month, or sort of tasks that need doing within the month. I use these dot stickers that I mentioned just before as a bit of a colour code for myself. The brown relates to tasks, the pale green relates to appointments, and the darker green relates to social things. And then I tend to sort of cross out the days that are not within the month. So for example, the 1st of November was Friday, so there was this whole section that like didn't need appointments and stuff like that going in. So I tend to use a combination of washi and stickers for that. I've got this kind of like vintage letter, don't really know how to describe it. Got this washi anyway, and then this sort of books with the ghost is from Papershire. I like to keep this in, so I've kind of gone for like a warm brown tone theme for the month, but because obviously we've just had Halloween and it's still arguably kind of spooky autumnal and everything, the ghost was like a nice tide over or carry over from October. I've got some soup here and a moth. The soup is from Moraine Kunst and the moth is Marigona Suli. And yeah, so things will get added in here as like stuff gets booked in, and then what I tend to do is kind of maybe at the midway point decorate a little bit more up here, and then in that the last week of the month I might add a couple of extra bits in just to give the space a bit of balance. Oh yeah, I went to rub something out here and I ended up tearing the page, which is a bit frustrating. I don't think I've ever done that in my Hobonichi books before. It's not really the end of the world, but it's one of those things that I was kicking myself for it a bit. And just ever so slightly decorated for December. I might put down 1 or 2 stickers here in the next couple of days. You might have seen my candle here is a festive one. I'm slowly but surely getting into that mindset. We've got the December sticker, that's a Megan one, and then this sort of tartan or gingham washi is one from Typo. I wanted, so this will look like, you know, quite Christmassy and festive and stuff by the end of the month, but I like the idea of it being a kind of muted, minimalist, gloomy Christmas slash festive period in the book, because then it's in keeping with my approach and my mentality, and also like how I like to decorate the house and stuff as well. So rather than it being like super loud, I just wanted it to be something a bit more toned down, and then I can layer things up as I want to. Now let's have a look at the daily pages. Okay. Good thing about it being a journal entry and being able to see, filmed for YouTube. Okay, so I'd shown you the decoration and stuff on these couple of pages, so I'll skip to this next page. So we've got the 29th and the 30th here, so very much like in the run up to Halloween and feeling that mood. On this day, yeah, I did some reading. I think I'd watch some like people's like Halloween videos and stuff. I watched the Texas Chainsaw for the first time. I think I might have watched one or two other films as well. So we've got some of this Typo washi that I just mentioned. A picture that I've pulled from Pinterest, lots of jack-o'-lanterns on someone's windows. It was so nice last week seeing like the neighbours around me and how they like decorated and things. Not everyone goes for it, and you know, that's their prerogative, but I live in an area where there's quite a lot of like young families, and it was really nice seeing people decorate, seeing people carve their pumpkins and put them outside, and then we had quite a few trick-or-treaters as well. So yeah, this was all like in the run up to that. And then the book here is a Morenkunst one. And then on this next page, so kind of a similar sort of vibe in terms of like that run up to Halloween feeling. Yeah, I had some big hot chocolate in the afternoon, so that's what the Megan hot chocolate sticker is all about. I think I was feeling a bit like rough and weird in the morning, so I've used one of my glimmers stickers, and this is like a collection of Jellycats that are all like sitting together, and one's like a takeaway coffee cup, one's a cup shape, and then one's a pumpkin, so it still feels like very in keeping with the vibe. And then this cobweb is a bones and blankets one, I think. And then we go to Halloween. So I, a couple of weeks ago, I think it must have been now, I bought Megan's zine. And, you know, amongst the journaling community, I think, you know, a few of us follow Megan. A few of us have got that zine from her. And the zine came with this sticker saying, wishing you a very gloomy Halloween. So I knew, like, I wasn't expecting this sticker in here, so it was a nice little surprise. And as soon as I received it, I slipped it into this page because I was like, well, I've got to use that on this day. So as well as that, you know, just to add a bit of layering, there's some washi tape in the background here from Marigona Suli. We've got a couple of Megan star stickers, and then there's this little cat trick-or-treater here. And that cat trick-or-treater, it's from the Midnight Tarot Sticky Club collection, and the artist is Dalzipser. My pronunciation of things, I think, is a bit hit and miss sometimes, so I do apologise. And then we've got my kind of cover page for November here. I'm not 100% happy with how it turned out, but well, you know, I can manage, sort of thing. We've got another November sticker here from Megan. I tend to layer up on these pages in a similar way to kind of how I have here. So we've got like this sort of tartan in the background. That's from a set of papers that I got from the works. This yellowish one is just a scrap off an envelope that I had. The cobweb here is another bones and blankets one. This flower down here is Marigona Suli, and then this is a Paper Shire sticker of some like hot chocolate or coffee with a cinnamon swirl. So what I do each month is I pick 8 images that kind of encapsulate the vibe that I want to take into that following month. And then it's kind of a good reminder for me of, like, if I want to feel kind of grounded and maybe more like in the moment and engage with the world a bit, I suppose might be just like the broadest way of putting it, then it's like a good place for me to come back to see, like, okay, what do I like about this time of year? What can I maybe watch or read or go and do that's going to help me feel a bit more grounded? So the pictures I've got here, we've got Frankenstein's monster. I won't go on about it for ages, but Frankenstein's monster, like, has a place in my heart. I think he's a good, like, metaphor for people that feel like they don't belong, people who feel isolated, people who struggle to communicate. So I always read him personally as like a bit of a trans allegory. You could argue there's maybe a lot of, I as an autistic person and maybe other autistic people might be able to relate to him on some level, particularly because in the books, but also often in the film depictions, he tries to communicate with people and he just gets completely misread and misunderstood and rejected as a result of that. So he's almost like, almost like a mascot. He comes up quite a few times in my books because I feel that kind of like connection with him. And as well as watching the original Frankenstein film this October, we watched Young Frankenstein, which is like a parody homage to it that came out in the 70s, and we watched that on Halloween night, so he was on my mind quite a bit. We've got a couple of like autumnal and wintry scenes here. So here's one where the trees are like very vibrant and orange, and then there's kind of what the trees will probably start looking like at the end of the month, where they're a bit more bare and it's frosty and everything's got that kind of shimmer to it. There's some mushrooms here in a really like mossy, damp environment. Within the UK, November is usually like a really good time for seeing mushrooms and fungi rather. Well, no, not rather, the mushrooms, the fruit. Anyway, another kind of like wintry scene here. It's some castle ruins. Not too sure why I included it. The vibe just sort of felt right. Got a black cat lying on a piano. We've got a journal and someone's like cappuccino. Something I do quite like doing now and again is going to, there's one coffee shop in particular in my local town that it's not a chain, it's owned by someone locally, and it's very cosy. It's always a bit quieter in there than a lot of other places, and what's helpful for me as well, being vegan, is they don't charge you extra for having plant milk, so I can have my oat latte or whatever it might be, and I'm not going to get charged like through the nose for it. And then this last one is some like ghost figures standing like on the edge of some woodland. So that kind of, a little bit like with Frankenstein, is just kind of like me carrying over the spookiness, Frankenstein's monster rather, kind of carrying over that spookiness into this month. And this ghost picture is actually like the front cover of my like traveller's notebook size book for the month as well, which we'll come on to in a little bit. And then I really like this spread, actually. But here's a reminder to myself to take a picture of this because I like this. I think it'll look nice. Let's have a think. So on this page, this was when my new desk riser arrived, and I did like a quite deep clean of my little office space and tidied up in here. And it was nice to just kind of see, like, obviously I'm in my home, I'm in my house, but this desk kind of feels like my cozy space and my home within my home. So it's almost like it's the first of the month, let's like commemorate and remember how this space looked and felt. So that picture's here, I've just used my thermal printer for it. This like scrap of paper sticker here is from Olive and Mabel. It's from one of the sheets that they did in collaboration with Bronte. These little ghosties are from Megan's Halloween sheets. We've got a sort of gold disc sticker here. And then there's this house, and the house is from some packaging from something I got from the Haunts Curiosity shop. And, you know, I was just saying there about like my home within my home. So I wanted to put the house with the desk space because it's, yeah, just like the home feeling. On this day, we went into one of our nearby-ish cities and went to see a stand-up comedy gig in the evening. So we got back late and I wrote this the following day. So because of that, I always like to try and emphasise when I'm catching up the following day rather than writing in that evening. So I've got this catching up sticker from Megan. I've got this picture of like a London suburb area looking very cosy and autumnal. This is one that I've pulled from Pinterest. And it's kind of like I wasn't in London, but it's the vibe of the city I was in kind of as well. And I'd actually been invited to go to an event in London on this day, but I had the stand-up thing pre-booked. So it was a little bit like I wasn't in London physically, but in spirit I kind of was. And then this skull picture is one that I pulled from Pinterest as well. I really like, you know, these like classic anatomical illustrations. And then on the 3rd, the entry that I put in was really quite short, so I've used this washi at the bottom just to help frame things. I can't for the life of me think of like who the illustrator is or anything. I got it from Miso Paper, so if you have a look on there, you'll probably be able to find it. The coffee stain here in the background, that's a Colour Cafe one. The leaves are from Stamped and Sealed Co, and then these pumpkins are from Megan. Initially I sort of put the pumpkins down because I brought the pumpkins that were outside back inside to sort of make use of them, and I had a couple that were out as like decor in the house that are now in the kitchen ready for me to like chop up, and then we can use them as food. And I started making some like festive plans on this day, and we had a very cozy day, and that's kind of why I picked this washi tape. It's not explicitly Christmassy, but like it's got sort of like bare trees in it. It's night time, there's all the stars and the sparkly bits. This tape I tend to use in December and January mostly because it has that wintry vibe to it. Sorry, I'm filming this like first thing, so my words are a bit laggy sometimes. So this was, the day before yesterday. I had therapy on this day, and we were kind of talking about communication and things like that. And I just thought it was kind of like this choice of it may have originally been a sticker, but I found it online. It was kind of like a tongue-in-cheek thing about how rubbish my communication can be sometimes. It's not funny, but like sometimes it's good to make fun of yourself a bit. I don't know, like I trying to improve with it, but also like I'm being self-aware. And then the haunted house is from Bujo Cult, and then this is another Papershire one. So I'm very much like keeping up with the spooky thing, even if I'm introducing some more like wintry or Christmassy elements in here. And then we've got yesterday, and I had laid down quite a few different stickers on this day. I done this part at the bottom initially, and I just kind of felt like I needed a bit more going on. I wouldn't say this is like the favourite decoration I've ever done, but it's quite nice to just be kind of free and easy about laying down some stickers. So the pinecone here and these mushrooms, they are from Moran Kunst. The moth is Bujo Cult. This little teacup, and it's got like an iridescent bit on it. I don't know if you can see that. That is from a set that I got from Flying Tiger. It was a booklet of Christmas stickers, and then I didn't put them up at the time, but you know how everything gets reduced in January. I think I picked the booklet up for something like 50p. The blanket is from Morin Kunst, and then these these scissors, sorry, blimey, those are from the scissor sticker. Why am I struggling? Anyway, they're from Olive and Mabel. It's part of that Bronte collaboration. It's funny I'm getting tongue-tied on that. I mentioned just that I'm filming this first thing. Part of the reason I'm doing it so early is the Scissor Sisters, and I can say that, they are doing a UK tour and their tickets go on pre-release this morning, and I'm hoping to be able to grab some. So yeah, hopefully I'll be able to say the word scissors properly later so I don't trip myself up too much. So that's the A6 in the last couple of days. I think if I go with the Traveller's Notebooks next, because my like Filofax / new notebook section, I feel like it's a bit messier and I need to archive some stuff. So let's get started on this side of things to begin with. So tail end of October. Let's just write in here the fact that I finished it on the 31st. So this will be getting archived after I've showed you these pages today. This page kind of stayed static. Yeah, this was helpful for tracking Peachtober. I had the 3 coloured dots for when I had finished the line work, when I'd finished the drawing, and then once the work was uploaded to my page. If you want to have a look at any of that stuff, I shared them on my like illustration / professional account, which is Alex Thomas Creative. That's where I post anything to do with my Kofi rewards. I never know whether to say Kofi or coffee, but anyway, those rewards, any illustration work I've got going on, anything related to my art shop. And then my media tracker here, that went, you know, swimmingly. My TBR, which I barely made a dent into. I watched more films than anything else, and that's, you know, that's absolutely fine. I sometimes get a bit critical with myself about not reading as much as I want to, but you know, like if I want to, I will, and if I don't and I do something else, then it's fine. Like, just because I'm not reading in all of my spare time, it doesn't mean I'm wasting my time. I need to keep reminding myself of that. As it is, I've read nearly 50 books this year, I think, so that's not bad going, really. Anyway, the monthly reflection. So what I tend to do, you know, this stays blank through the month that I'm using a particular booklet, and then I'll go in on like the 1st, 2nd, 3rd of the following month and do a bit of a reflection. This month I decided to stick some pictures in. So we've got my fireplace at the top, all decorated for Halloween. We've got a picture of my partner and I here at a local country park. We had a really nice day. And then the bottom one here, it's not too clear, but one of my neighbours went like all out with the decoration, and they live like at the end of the road, so they have a bit of like extra land that's not immediately in front of their house. So it's just that land with like fake cobwebs, pumpkins, gravestone decorations in. And you know, I felt more comfortable taking a photo of that than like the front door, because that wouldn't be great. And we've got a couple of extra stickers here. So the first couple, the more colourful couple here, from the Sticky Club Midnight Tarot set. This ticket style one is from Osaka Drawers. And then the Trick or Treat one is from Tiny Yumi. And naturally those, I think, go very well. And then we've got a couple of stars from Megan as well. I didn't use the weekly pages, so I've just used that paper clip to tie everything together. And then you'd seen everything within the Commonplace section of this book. And I went into my Tokyo one as overflow. So the bits that I added in since we last spoke is this entry here about Samhain. And I've used a sticker from Megan just here. Some information about the Sabbat. We've got a sticker here. This is one of the Poundland ones that's sparkly. I've got a Bujo Cult Ghost here. I had an awkward bit of space at the bottom of the page here that I knew I wasn't gonna have any have an entry that would fit in there, so I've just put the ghost washi down here. And this is a Morin Kunst sticker. Got an entry in here about Scorpio season and the kind of associations with that period of the year, with another Morin Kunst sticker. I've then done an entry in here about the symbolism that you often see within cemeteries and on gravestones and stuff. I find it really interesting, like the symbolism that people attach to certain images. And you know, I think I mentioned a few weeks ago I went to the Coffin Works in Birmingham, and it's interesting seeing like how different cultures, how different periods of history commemorate death. And obviously the time of the year it is now, that's on my mind a lot. And learning more about it, it's just, yeah, really interesting for me. I did a bit of like a decoration spread, so a bit like I did in the A6 here. I just really felt like decorating a bit. So the picture in the background is one that I pulled from Pinterest, and it's you know, an autumnal graveyard. This ghost sticker is a bones and blankets one. We've got a bit of washi here from Colour Cafe, and we've got one of these like gold or bronzy discs, and then a little star from Megan. And then the leaves here in the rows at the bottom of the page, those are Olive and Mabel ones. And in particular, I put the rose here because a rose was one of the sort of images or symbols that was spoken about. Some more about this stuff and some more decoration in the middle here. So in the background, we've got a sticker from Stamped and Sealed Co. And this open page also is Stamped and Sealed Co. 1. The oak leaf, I think it's an oak leaf anyway, it's from Morin Kunst. And then this one that's like a mound with some gravestones on, this is from the Sticky Club collection. The artist is Ilbide. And I really like the kind of tones in this, you know, the greens and the blue. So we've got a couple of quotes going on here. We've got one from book Sapiens and a Morin Kunst sticker with some mushrooms. Another quote here with a Bones and Blankets ghost. And then we've got here some notes about a study that came out. So what was the name of the study? Oh yeah, okay, so it's a study called Autistic Adults Experience of RRBs. RRB is a restricted and repetitive behaviour. Oh yeah, here, so the term refers to stimming and repetitive motor movements, the quote-unquote insistence on sameness. This is kind of the diagnostic criteria language, so it's a bit clinical, a bit restricted interests and sensory sensitivities. So it's all about that stuff. And their findings were about how it's helpful with self-regulation, how it has some positive impacts, some negative impacts, and like suppression and masking got talked about as well. This is one of my Glimmers stickers. It's some green pyjamas, because it kind of, you know, it fit the theme about sensory sensitivities and stuff. This Remember sticker is a Megan one. And another one of my Glimmers one here as well, which is like, it's kind of like a point of view shot of someone looking at their shoes, and it's a pair of Converse, because it's very rare, if anyone ever meets me, it's very rare that I'll be wearing anything other than my black Converse, because that's like my safe shoes, if that makes sense. Anyway, there was a quote from one of the participants that I really related to and linked with, so I've put it in a box here with an exclamation mark. That's another Megan sticker. And this person, they were talking about, they had I think it was a shell collection or rock, it was a rock collection they had, and they spoke about how, you know, it was a nice sensory thing, feeling the rock in their hand, but then they also said, I like the idea that even though the memory is gone, you still have something from that day. So I guess it's kind of a comfort thing. And then I made a note on the side about how often, the study didn't go into it, but a lot of us who are autistic have memory issues as well. So I think there's that maybe added inclination towards wanting to memory keep in some way, which is probably why so many of us within this community are also neurodivergent. I think it's quite a common thing to turn to if we're wanting to like preserve things, you know, particularly if we struggle with our memory. So yeah, that's from that. And then there was another study that I made a couple of notes on, but it was a bit shorter, a bit more concise, but still interesting. In particular, this one, it was about autistic, trans and non-binary people, and that is like a crossover in an area of study. Hasn't had masses of focus on it, but it's a really interesting area to me. So yeah, that's where I am in terms of commonplacing. I've not done as much commonplacing the last few days as maybe I was expecting to. I think I have started some in the November book. We'll see that shortly. So yeah, here's the November book. I can put the other two to the side for now. I broke down the decoration on this for you in a previous video, but if you want to know where any of these bits are from, just drop me a comment and I'll let you know. So we've got Alex, 1st November. So this first page, in a similar way to in October, is for media releases. So for instance, we had Heretic come out a few days ago. I want to go and see that. And we had the Stardew Valley update a couple of days ago as well. This month I'm going to be using the calendar page for my reading tracker. So the book that I'm currently reading, I started in October. So once I finish that, I'll put like a dot on the page and then I'll put the information nearby it. And then I've got a media tracker on the side here as well. Yeah, I talked you through this decoration stuff a few weeks ago, but again, if you want me to talk through it, I'll go over it. And here we've got a habit tracker. So till the end of last week, I was tracking in my Filofax. And I'll talk a bit more about it in a sec, but I'm moving away from using it. So I wanted to utilise this booklet as well as I possibly could, and tracking that stuff in here just makes sense. I've got the monthly review page that'll stay blank until the first couple of days of December. And then we've got the weekly spreads. So in September and October I didn't use these, but like I said, I wanted to make use of them. So this booklet, just in case I think I've not mentioned it this video, but I have in previous ones. This isn't a traveller's notebook. This isn't a traveller's notebook insert. It's one that Megan made last year, and I bought a few from her. So the layout of this gives us a focus for the week, and here I've put Christmas cards. I have my own art shop. I think I touched on it a little while ago, and I wanted to make something a bit festive. So I designed a Christmas card that's currently with my printers, and it should be available a few days from when this video goes up. If you are interested in that stuff, like I say, the Instagram that relates to my art stuff is Alex Thomas Creative. So yeah, if you're interested, give that page a follow. Here I've put my list of things that I want to do at least once a week. So again, I used to keep track of that in the Filofax, but I've switched it across. I'm just updating this for a second because I remembered something. And then in these daily boxes, I am making a note of health symptoms. Again, that was something that I tracked in the Filofax previously. So I'm just essentially transferring all my tracker kind of information into here. I'm filming on Wednesday morning, so that's where we are. There's a section at the top for watching, reading, listening and self-care. I've read some, articles and the news and things like that, but I've left that blank for the minute. If and when I read my book, I'll put the title in there. Watching, Catfish and Community as well. Listening to Over the Garden Wall. In particular, there's a YouTube video of the soundtrack with like a rainy sound, and I think I've got like echolalia for it basically, because I try and listen to it at least once a day, and it is really soothing. And also some Childish Gambino, so kind of like the opposite end of the scale. Listen to that. Self-care, therapy, that's been the main thing so far this week. Bit of decoration in this kind of spare blank space here. This is a stamped and sealed coast sticker. The Boo Ghost is a paper shy one, and then these couple of stickers are from Noah. I think their shop's called Little Moss Bug. If it's not, I'll put it up on the screen, but I'm pretty sure that's it. And we've got the next few weeks. And then yeah, I've started some commonplacing in here. So something that I like to do now and again is to duplicate that the mood board thing from my A6. So that's what I've got in here initially. I've set out my key to start with. I've sort of introduced myself. I've got the mood board, and then these strips here, it might look like washi tape on the camera, but it's actually some packaging that I've cut out, and this is from the Haunts Curiosity shop as well. Here I've taken notes of my Halloween tarot reading. So I did the reading on the morning of Halloween, so you'd maybe think put it in your October book, but I left it a couple of days and then wrote out these longer form notes, like adding on to the initial notes I made, just because then I'd let the thoughts sort of percolate a bit more. These images here are things that I pulled from Pinterest, and then we've got a couple of stars here from Megan. So like still kind of keeping with the spooky theme. A bit of decoration here. I'm not in love with how this looks, but we live and we learn. We've got this like skeleton figure here with an angel kind of around it. I think that's like an angel of death sort of thing. Got a stamp here with a hair on it, and then this is a piece of pet tape, and I've cut around this flower just to add on there. Got a couple of quotes here, and then I've got a meme sort of stuck in here. Well, it's not stuck in, I've just used a paper clip to start with because I didn't want to stick it down yet. And it's, what does it say? No revenge, because the life I've begun to live in your absence has been more wonderful than at any moment in your presence. I feel like I was a bit jilted reading that, but that came up on my Tumblr and it resonated, so I just stuck it in there, and then I'll stick it down at some point. So yeah, I've done a little bit of commonplacing so far in November, but not masses. I think I've mentioned it on previous videos, but I tend to go through stops and starts where I'll have like an afternoon or two one week where I'm absolutely like, you know, tearing through one of these booklets and filling it out really quickly. And then I might have a week or so where I don't really write anything. I tend to just try and go with the flow with these things. And then we've got like the file of facts and my new book. So I will put a card up, I think, for the video where I've talked about why the file of facts isn't really working for me so much at the minute. The main thing, like the TLDR version, is quite big and bulky. And when I was taking it out and about, it's got a bit battered and it just felt quite cumbersome. And I decided instead that I have a bit of a backlog of smaller books in particular that I've collected over the years just because I like the pattern on the front, or, you know, I otherwise like the design. So I've switched from using the file of facts to that, and I've got some pages to archive, so I just thought I'd, you know, do it on camera just in case anyone is interested, because I'm going to keep my collection. So in here I've got three main sections. I've got my trackers, my everyday to-do lists, and I've got collections at the back, which are like, they're sort of commonplace entries, but they are like quite long-term things that I want to be able to come back to and refer to. Like in particular, I've got a couple of recipes in here, and having these on file of facts pages is really useful because I can just pop the rings, take this sheet of paper downstairs, and that's me sorted. Whereas before I used to keep recipes on like Google Docs on my phone, and you know, I'd be halfway through something and then my screen would lock, and then I'd be trying to unlock it, but I've maybe got sauce on my hand or something. So my collections are going to stay here, but I'm going to archive and recycle these, and the trackers as well. And I'll just pop this pen out because that doesn't need to live in there anymore. Do you know what? I'm not going to archive on camera because it's probably me quietly doing stuff, but I'll sort that. I just wanted to show you what those last few pages look like. And then the new book. So I've been using the, the Hobonichi Uniball pen that came free with the books this year. The book itself, it had a little ribbon bookmark, and I've just attached a little skull charm to the end. I've got some dot stickers in here and some of my business cards. I've got a gloomy paper clipped in, and I tend to switch this out each week so far. I've got a bit of a key going, and then this book is very much like a messy space, just very practical space. So it's mostly been each day's to-do list, and then in red pen I've put any appointments and stuff I've got coming up. And what I tend to do, if there's like a break, a page break I guess you might call it, I've laid down a bit of washi just to help make that really clear. I'm not really going to be decorating in here, but as you can see I've used a couple of stickers. So this Christmas tree is from that Flying Tiger set that I mentioned before. Little picture of some border collies, got a little moth here, and a paper shy sticker here. So now and again, there'll be the odd sticker dotted in and out, but it's nothing. It's very much, a messy space like the to-do lists and stuff were in the previous book as well. And then what have I got back here? Oh yeah, I've just got some like loose like notepad sort of things, just in case I needed them. They don't take up much room, so I'm not mad about them being there. And that's the pages for the last few days, the last sort of week or so. So let's tidy up a little bit, and then we can do the desk tour. So first things first, I thought I would show you the bits and pieces that I've got above my desk. So to the right, we've got this cork board here, where I tend to put images that I find sort of particularly inspiring. I tend to change this up maybe every 6 to 8 weeks or so. I very much kind of go with gut instinct on that. Sometimes it'll be shorter, sometimes it'll be longer. I'll just show you a slightly closer version of the cork board as well, so you can kind of see the vibe. And then on the right hand side, the right hand side, I get my left and right mixed up. We've got a series of prints here from the Haunt Curiosity Shop. There's a bit of reflection from the window, but you get the gist. These came in a Halloween advent calendar that I bought from them, and I just love them, and I love how they go together as well. So if we take a look here, this is kind of how my desk is looking at the moment. I am holding you with a little tripod, so hopefully it's stable. So on each end of the desk, we've got these drawers from IKEA, and we've got my desk riser in the middle as well. I've got a mat that sort of sits below the riser and everything. And I tend to keep to the right hand side a cutting board, but I've taken that, moved that out the way for the time being. We'll just have a closer look of what's in the drawers, and if for whatever reason maybe you want a deeper dive on this stuff, I could always make a separate video anytime. So just firstly, on the top of these drawers, we've got my lamp, which is an IKEA one. I had that when I was maybe 16 or 17, and it's still going strong. There's a couple of command strips on here because I've got some fairy lights arriving hopefully later today, and I'm going to string them up along here for the festive period. My Maneki Neko is next. We've got my Frankenstein's monster, and I've already talked at length about why I like him. Got a collection of crystals here, so I tend to switch these out with the season. So at the moment we've got some clear quartz, some citrine, and some black obsidian. On the top of the other set I've got, we've got my gloomies, and I tend to sort of switch those out, every few days in terms of what's sitting at the front there. We've got a candle, we've got my skeleton light. That's not on at the minute, I meant to switch it on before I filmed this, but never mind. And then we've got my Divoom Pixel speaker as well. I'm going to show you briefly what is in each drawer. I've not tidied up ahead of this, so it could be a bit messy. This drawer is really like random scraps. We've got some pen refills, we've got some business cards, we've got some push pins for my corkboard up there. Next, yeah, another kind of random set of things. Matchbox, paper clips, a bunch of like crocodile clips as well, and elastic bands. It's quite difficult to show you, I do apologise. I feel like I'm very much underutilising these drawers. This is what I'm learning so far. I've got a couple of iron-on patches here, and I've got a couple of tabs for notebooks. So I've used one set of these in my my HON for next year, but the pack comes with two, so I've just got an extra set. You know, arguably I could just use those in 2026. This drawer is, I kind of call it like my medical drawer. So there's paracetamol in here, there's some plasters, there are some, you know, like zit stickers, anti-bac, that kind of thing. I mentioned at the beginning of the video about having an experience in alexithymia. Often I'll be in pain and not realise it, and then suddenly I do realise it. So if I'm in here when that happens, it's good to have paracetamol and that sort of thing within easy reach. Next is my washi collection. Oh gosh, this is very awkward to try and show you. Hopefully you get a gist of kind of what the collection looks like. I did tidy that up the other day, it was messy before. This is like all my dot stickers. So we've got you know, the Stalogy ones back here. I've got some from Paper Chase back in the day. We've got the Stationery Pal ones. Yeah, that's a bit of a messier space, but I can get to everything. Next set of drawers. This first one is just like all my cables that I use on the regular. This next one is spare coasters for my various cups of tea and stuff. This next one is bookmarks and page tabs. This next one is glue and tape. In this next one, I've got, for some reason, I've got a box of matches. That needs to move. Lens wipes, that kind of thing, for my devices and for my glasses. And then this last one is post-it notes and spare bits of paper. And then if we have a quick look in the desk riser, so this has a drawer with different sections in it. And I didn't actually look at this properly when I bought it, but it was really, really helpful to know. I was just glad to have that extra bit of drawer space regardless of the dividers. So in this left hand section here, we've got a few friction pens and a Sharpie. It's always just good to have those really handy. In this middle section, I typically keep my A6 in here, so I'll pop that back. I've also got a Tombow pen at the bottom here because it's too long to fit in this side. Then we've got a couple of other books here. We've got a A6 2024 HON and also an A5 book from Muji. The Muji one I'm using as my therapy notebook, and the HON I'm using for morning pages. So I need them easy to get to, but I'm not going to show you them because it's all quite private in there. And then in this last section, I've got some stim things. I have a crate that I keep most of that stuff in, but I thought it'd just be good to have some really easy to access. So I've got a tangle here. We've got, this is my like my favourite lip balm. It's the birthdaybalm.com from Glossier, and it tastes, yeah, it tastes like you're eating sweets or cake, and it's very good for like grounding me because it's super sweet. Also, even the packaging's stimmy because we've got that like glittery iridescent feel here. And then this last item, so this tin I got from the Pen Museum in Birmingham, and inside I've got my loops. So loops, you know, they come in their own case, but I use mine so frequently that I like broke the seal on the case, so they live in here now. Other bits we've got on the desk, it's a bit messy because I've just finished filming, but just to give you an idea, we've got a couple of candles here. We've got my Nido stim, we've got my notebook, a tarot card from my reading this morning. In the corner here, this is kind of temporarily here, it's not necessarily the best fit. We've got my my Delphonics pouch here, doing its job. My laptop up here, my tablet just there. Got a notepad under here to do list, as they say. Now typically I'm using this notebook for to-do lists, but I figured if ever I'm on the phone or something and maybe I've left the book downstairs, it's within reach for me, and because it's tucked under like that, it's not a bother on my desk. Got my Commonplace just here. My drink, copy of National Geographic. I don't buy magazines often, but one of my special interests is like witchcraft and witch trials. So I saw this yesterday and I just picked it up. And then we've got this tray here. It's full of stuff at the moment, but it's one I picked up from TK Maxx a few days ago. And this does tend to be a bit of a dumping ground through the week, and then I tidy it up and clear it. But you can see, you know, I've got a fidget in there. I've got some more lip balm, a couple of pens. There's some like ephemera and paper bits as well. So that's everything for today. Hopefully you found that interesting. And it feels so nice to kind of be down to this sort of size stack. I feel like I've had absolutely like tons of paper and tons of books on my desk for the last couple of weeks, just as I was like transitioning away from the file of facts while I was still in that overflow traveller's notebook size book. So yeah, feeling a bit more like focused and clear of things after going through that sort of show and tell with you. All right, I'll see you next week. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.